Hi guys, it's time for the chill check, the busy person's guide to chilling out by the living of gaming. So we are really excited for the release of the PS5. It was announced recently. It is expected to come out sometime later this year. We are saving up money for it. In the same time as well, this is also a good time for us to be on the lookout of good deals on PS4 games that has a story continuity in the PS5 environment. One of them is Watch Dogs 2. Now, Watch Dogs 2 was developed by Ubisoft in 2016. It is an open world action adventure game, very similar to Grand Theft. The layout, the playing of it is really similar to Grand Theft Auto 5. And in fact, it's in direct competition with Grand Theft Auto 5. There's a lot of similarities being drawn about the two games. But the key difference is actually in the storyline. The storyline for Watch Dogs 2 is that you are playing this hacker, which is part of a big group called DedSec. This hacking community that is trying to weed out the unscrupulous corporations that are collecting data people and doing nasty things with data, basically, sort of like trying to prevent a corporate big brother from coming up. This whole DedSec thing draws parallel to the anonymous movement as well. So the premise is really interesting, which is a fresh premise compared to the building up from a small-time criminal to a criminal empire storyline in the Grand Theft Auto series. Let's talk about the gameplay mechanics. Now, the gameplay, as I've mentioned earlier, a lot of parallels being drawn with the Grand Theft Auto series and also other open world games. It is really similar. The buttons that you press are also similar in some cases as well, and the things that you can do in these games are also similar. You can collect cars, you can collect different weapons, you can interact with people, you can go have some food in there, you can change a tire, you've got the main mission, you've got side missions. So a lot of the things that you can do in the game are really similar to the other open world games as well. But I guess the key difference where Watch Dogs 2 really brings out on its own is that the whole hacking element. Now, the hacking element is really superb. Some of the ideas might be a bit far-fetched, but for the most of it, it's really consistent to some of the things that we've seen in movies as well. So, for example, you can always hack. You can hack into traffic cameras. You can change traffic lights. You can listen into phone conversations. In fact, one of the is you can also hack and steal money from people's account as well. That is actually one of the easiest way for you to make money in the game. You can do a lot of things. So you can control vehicles as well. You can make things explode if let's say those things are actually attached to some kind of a mechanical device. So anything that's hackable is hackable, basically. The replayability element for me is also quite good. The wealth of mission is there. You've got a main mission, obviously, and in the same time as well, you've got a lot of these side missions, side operations that also pop out. You have also online kind of missions. You've got something like the capture the flag kind of challenge. You've got a bounty hunter challenge where you help out the police to basically round up some of the criminals as well. There's a lot of these side missions, and another element of replayability as well is how you approach these kind of missions. For the most part, actually, because of the nature of the character being a hacker, being a hacktivist kind of person, you are expected to work on it on a stealth kind of basis. But obviously, being an open world kind of game, and you can always procure different weapons and all those kind of stuff. There's always an option for you to go in with all guns blazing and just start shooting the place up, basically. So that choice also makes the replayability element interesting as well. So let's talk about some of the pros and cons of the game. For me, the technology storyline of it is really beautifully done. Sometimes it does feel a bit like a Black Mirror-ish kind of image, but to be fair as well, a lot of how the story is being told, you do feel that it kind of like it can make sense as well. If you've been following the talks about big data, about Internet of Things, about all of this devices, smart homes, smart appliances that makes everything connected. These kind of things can actually exist in the future, and you do feel a bit woke by the fact that nature. In fact, one of the missions that you will go through in this game, where the manufacturer of this one manufacturer of IoT devices that is doing a lot of these smart appliances, smart fridge, smart kettle, smart home concept basically, and your job is actually to hack into the server of that company to find out what they are doing, and then you found out that actually that company is selling this data to corporations, which then targets you with a lot of different things. So basically unscrupulously selling this kind of data. So this is something that can really happen, and it has happened in some cases as well. So I feel that woke element is really good. It's being done beautifully, and the storyline is really beautiful as well. So that's the main thing that I like about the game. Secondly, is that the place itself is San Francisco. So if you compare to GTA, the Grand Theft Auto series is based on a fictional city of San Andreas. Well, it's actually modeled after South California kind of area, but in this game it is actually San Francisco. In fact, so you've got the Golden Gate Bridge, you've got Alcatraz, you've got a lot of these beautiful landmarks being beautifully rendered as well. In fact, if you look at the Reddit for Watch Dogs 2, some of the things that people just like to do is just to go on the game and then take a beautiful snapshot of the place, because it's so beautifully rendered, and it's based on and it is actually, some of the landmarks are also consistent as well. So that's what I like about the game. Now, the cons for the game, what I don't like about the game is that there are smaller variety of vehicles and also weapons if you compare to Grand Theft Auto. I mean, fair enough, it is actually a game. It's actually more of a hacktivist kind of game. But if you are looking for that element of going crazy, basically, this game has got lesser. Has got lesser of it. It's because that the vehicles are limited. The type of weapons are also limited. I'm not even sure if you haven't have like a C4 kind of thing as well. So you do. So that's a key thing. That's a key thing that I feel that's actually missing. The maps are also smaller. I would say that the Grand Theft Auto map is a lot bigger than this. For this one, you once you hit the key spots around San Francisco, then you start to feel that actually the map isn't really that big, basically, compared to what Grand Theft Auto has. Another glaring thing that I see as well that sort of like annoys me in this game is that the police mechanic is a bit weird as well. I mean, if you play Grand Theft Auto at 1 star, you are at the level 1 most of the time the police, in fact even in level 2 as well, most of the time the police will just try to apprehend you, and there is this element of actually you get busted you get caught by the police. But in this game, even on a 1 star 1 level, the police are really trying to basically kill you, and so they're just trying to drive you off the road basically. So I don't actually, I've played this game for a good number of hours, but I haven't actually come into a situation whereby I got busted by the police. It's always that I actually die in combat, and then I have to restart the game from the last point basically. So that's for me is a slightly weird.
I needed a break. For a sec I even gave up believing and praying.
Final thoughts, Watch Dogs 2 is a really interesting game. The storyline for me is really on point. The whole idea about technology, the whole idea about being a woke activist, the whole idea about how unscrupulous corporations can be with our data, it's really out there. I would say that the storyline is what draws me to this game, and what makes me continue playing this game up to today basically. The element of and that element will also be continued in Watch Dogs Legion, which is expected to be in PS5. So if you're looking forward to that, if you've seen trailers of that and you want to have a feel about what's the game all about, just try Watch Dogs 2. It's on the PS4 and it's on sale as well in most of the regions. So give it a go. The only drawback that I would say is that if what you are looking from an open world game is the ability for you to just go on a rampage, just go berserk once in a while, having fun, then you won't get the same level of satisfaction with Watch Dogs 2 because of the limitations in weapons, the limitation in cars, limitation of things that you can do in game basically. In that area. So if you're looking for those kind of elements in an open world game, then I would recommend you to stick to Grand Theft Auto 5. But apart from that, Watch Dogs 2, really great game, really fresh approach. Give it a go, chill out and enjoy the game. See you guys next time.